Okay, we live. Peace, everyone.
Peace,
Peace,
Shabbat
Julia.
Shalom.
Peace, everyone who coming into the space. Peace, Abba Herut. How you doing?
Peace, Master Menyelek. I'm doing good, I am grateful for Sabbath. I'm always looking forward to it.
Good, man. How was you strong?
It was pretty good. Today was more calmer, pleasant, but I prepared for it. The rest of the week kind of on and off, but today was much more calm. How about yours?
It was no, it was on through the whole strong.
He says
Yeah. It was pretty full of activity, but I got some of my goals accomplished that I wanted to get done. And yeah, man, I'm happy for this time of rest.
Yeah,
man. What about everyone else coming in? Everyone coming into the space. Peace. How was your strong as you come into the space? You can let us know. But yeah, we had a good strong. Starting off with Sister Yafe with this is a test. And really diving into the idea of something happening and you having the responsibility to respond to it, not react to it. Something can happen to you and you have to understand that, okay, this is happening and I can choose to respond to it intelligently or I can just react to it emotionally and whatever happens. I don't care right now.
Right.
And we touched on Job and how he was tested, and we touched on a couple of other things. We got a nice, hilarious story of Sister Yafe's action packed run through the streets of New York, causing havoc and mayhem. After that, of course, we had our internal study session, and after that, Aki El gave another awesome presentation. He was talking about types of generals, and he took us through it's like as I call people's names, they just keep popping up. He gave an excellent presentation, just going through a series on the art of war. A lot of good information, a lot of like Chief was saying in the chat, a lot of science and the clips that he was bringing through and the excerpts that he had coming forth from the Art of War, Sun Tzu's Art of War. And yeah, man, it's just all around really, really good topics. He really put it down. And now here we are, Shabbat. So yeah. And the sisters did their thing last strong too. Sister Maria and Safta Ahava dealing with the light and the dark and dealing with that aspect. And we're kind of complementing it. I didn't realize it until, we were speaking yesterday. Because we're talking about something that deals more with sound, more or less, as opposed to light and dark.
Right.
So dealing with tuning in and being tuned up. And when we had spoken about it before, it was tuned up and tuned in. But it to me it felt like kind of out of place, when we spoke about it. So we swapped it around because you would tune in before you tune up to it. You got to know the proper frequency before you tune into it. But yeah, man, anything you want to add before we move on?
Yeah, like you saying with Safta Ahava and Akoti Maria when they were doing the segment on your seasons of light and dark, and like you said, this is going to complement it in a way because, like you said, it's so funny, light and dark, and tune in and tune out. And of course, it comes to the mind of how to tune in, how to bring that, it's like that vibration. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to us building, as like I said, all these segments, they're blending together. It's a combination. And especially when, like I said, Aki El Karar was doing the Art of War, it's so funny because, like you said, if you don't strategize it properly, it's you can lose the war again. And he utilized with the different level of generals and the command. And so when you if you don't have the right um, sense of strategy, I'll just use strategy, yeah, because it's come to me strategy, then that can set out the course of how you're going to succeed or not. Okay, and the same thing with tuning in. Then the question will be, what are you tuning into?
Right.
Because there's different levels. So yeah, and we're gonna enjoy this. We're gonna have a good moment as we build from this.
Yeah, man, for sure. I just wanted to welcome everybody into the space. We have my sister Yafe voice. Welcome everybody into the space. You have DPI, Sister Yafe. Peace, welcome. Peace, talk to your speakers. Aki El Garar, Sovereign Eats, Sister Maria, Imanaya, Safta Gertrude. Peace, Safta G. Peace after Harvard as well. Welcome everybody. Hopefully you all are easing into your Sabbath real nice and smooth, like get to sit down. Give those old people when they sit down, oh Lord, yes, thank you, Jesus. Just ease right into it. Peace in Laquia as well. Sovereign Eats says you can get turned up on this year's segments. They have been really bringing up to honor culture, right thinking, and right action. Right. Peace in the accurate Eden as well. Yeah, man. So right frequency, right? When we start off, right? When we start out life, a lot of us have different upbringings. We come from different backgrounds, but in a lot of ways, we go through sort of a similar seasoning, as Chief would call it. You have a similar sort of upbringing, and you're taught that life should look like this when you're going through your upbringing, and you're moving into quote unquote adulthood. You should get a job, you should go to college, or you should go through school, you should go to college, you should get a job, a good job that pays you well, get a house, have a few kids, get married, get a house, have a few kids, pay off your mortgage, and die. And I think a 401k is slipped into there somewhere. And that's usually the tune that the average person would be told, like, this is how life should look, right? So you should attune yourself to this certain path. If you're going through school and you're not getting good grades, then you're not in tune with what the mission was. Or if you do manage to graduate and you don't go to college, then you're not in tune. Or if you go to college and you don't graduate, you're not in tune. You graduate, but you don't get a good job, you're not in tune. You get a good job, but you don't get married, don't get a house, and the list goes on, right? And there's this certain trajectory that everyone is told, like, no, you should fit to this. And a lot of people are getting disillusioned now because they're getting to a point where now there's social media, and there's multiple tunes being put out there to say, well, maybe you're not supposed to go to college. Maybe you could just start a business. So start a business, be a founder, be a successful entrepreneur. Then you'll be happy. And all of these things are like, how do you tune into happiness, right? Or how do you tune into a comfortable life? And these are like the steps that are set up. Like, this is what a comfortable life should look like, or this is what will make you happy, or this is what will make you comfortable. This is what will make you fulfilled. And if you don't get it, then that's the reason why you feel fulfilled, because you don't get it. But after a while, it became more and more attainable. And what happens is you may get it and still feel unfulfilled. I did everything I was told to do. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I don't feel it. I'm not feeling it. So what do I do now? I followed all the steps, and I don't know what to do. And you and I have been building on chief segment, accountable for purpose.
Right. Right.
And Chief had mentioned the importance of integrity, and that integrity meaning you're being not stick, you're being you're sticking to the alignment that you originally had when you came to the planet, right? That original core intention that you were designed to really express. And when you don't really stick to that and you deviate from it because you're told, and he'd used the term, you're institutionalized, right? So you're told this is how you should live, right? This is the institution says this is how you should live, and you try to attune yourself to it, and it doesn't work. And you're trying to figure out now, why isn't this working? Well, what did you actually want to do before you were told all of these things? Or what is pulling you away from that? That thing that you for some reason, for whatever reason, you couldn't settle for these things that you were told were the right things to do or were prescribed to you. There was always something else tugging at you saying, nah, do this. You're supposed to be over here. You're supposed to be over here. So now there's what's known as dissonance, because I'm told I'm supposed to tune into this, but I'm also experiencing this internal pull to be over here. But everyone outside of me is saying, nah, this is where it's at. This is where you're supposed to be. And if you're not doing this, then it's obvious why you're so dissatisfied with life, because you're not completely focused on what's important, right? You gotta decide on my quotation fingers. Okay, you're not really tuned into what's important or the important things. You should give up that dream because it's not really realistic. I'm gonna be using these a lot, but it's not really realistic. You should focus on something that's more realistic. What they're saying is you should focus on something that's more in alignment with the dream that we've all been sold. And I bought into it, so you should too. And that voice that's coming from inside, that's the voice that's tuning you into your original design. That's your creator saying, this is what you were designed to do. And if you keep calling yourself by a different name, then at each time you do it, you're distorting yourself. You're distorting that original vision. So I was that was where I was leaning towards it in terms of the discussion for this evening. But you have anything that you wanted to add, or any experiences?
Yeah, it's funny you were saying that, because as I was preparing for our moment today, I can look back at when I was a youth, and it's funny about tuning in. I always found that life will always, like you just said, it'll always bring you back if you synchronize, or I'll just say, let's just use tune in, because it's like a radio signal. So we say we're gonna listen to R&B, well, or jazz, or instrumental, or whatever. You have to tune into a station. Now, it's interesting. You notice that today most people really don't listen to the radio. Whereas growing up, I was able to listen to radio. So now, say if I wanted to listen to R&B, you had to find the right channel or station. Better yet, not channel, but the station. And then you just you keep scrolling the knob, because it's so funny now. Now it's, they have it where you push buttons. So, but then you still have to find it, like, oh, here it. Okay, that song that resonates with me. So now, but the thing is, it's a signal. It's a signal that's being received. And so same thing with us. Growing up, I was always finding that things were always offbeat with me. What do I mean by that? Meaning that I grew up in in a mostly Caucasian community. And because, you know, when you grow up and you grow up with mom and then, you know, when you with dysfunction, you think you adapt to the culture. Going back to what we're talking about culture, you adapt to what you get. Because why? That's the culture in. That's what you think you are.
Mhm.
But then something inside you, like, something's out of place. Something's not resonating. Something's not in sync. So it's amazing to me because all my life I was always trying to, and I'm thank goodness I was able to strive at that. But it's amazing how people get so comfortable in a community that's not even theirs, or they get in sync or tuned in to something that's totally opposite of their natural state. And so for me growing up, I was always, like you said, that inner part of, you know, because when Chief did the accountable for a purpose, and he was saying about when you're a youth, is that it's interesting how weaning did when he was talking about the institutionalized. And so what he was saying was that it's interesting how society will wean you from the deity. So I was figuring, what I realized, that when you get into institutionalized, it takes you away from your natural deity. It takes you away from your natural culture. It takes you away from your natural harmonizing with tuning in. So once I realized, okay, something's not up, because one, I'm disoriented, I'm confused, and you're chaotic. Whereas most people are comfortable with that. They're comfortable being chaotic.
Right.
They're comfortable being confused, and so they just play along, or like you said, you just play along. But it's, for me, it's like no, hell no. I didn't curse then when I was a kid. As you know, as you find out that you've been screwed up, and you know, and you live with dysfunction, it's like, you know what, I'll be dang. But the point is, when you find that right station and you tune in, and you're like, dang, this is what I've been wanting all my life. But the key is searching and just making sure that, you know, you keep seeking. I love it how the scripture says, you seek and you shall find. Knock, and the door should be open unto you. And what it means is, I was never satisfied. I was always continually seeking. I was always continuing, like, okay, with the Most High, I'm like, okay, I'm confused. Is this my culture or is it not? Is this why am I not resonating with this? And so I'm saying this because as we're talking about tuning in, we're going to talk about the tuning fork. We're going to talk about a tune up, which you get for your car. We're going to talk about all that because it's all going to resonate to everything we're talking about. And so what I was doing, where most people do anyway, is when you tune up your car, it's funny. Most people don't do nothing until they hear a knocking or something, like, oh, what's that? What's that noise? What's going on? So what I was saying is, there was a knock in my head, and it's like, when I know it wasn't normal. So I'm like, I gotta get this straight. Now, mind you, I can't go to my parents, cousins, uncles, aunties, whatever, because what? They ain't doing no tune in. They ain't doing no tune up. They just comfortable. So now I'm trying to figure it out myself, which I wind up doing. But then once I didn't really wind up figuring it out on my own. I'm grateful that I did have elders that were able to guide me and, like, okay, here's the right frequency we should be on. And then that's how this journey started. And so what I was appreciating what she was breaking down was that the chaotic, crazy culture out there, it weans you away from the deity. And of course, every culture has their own deity. Ours, we understand that being Anu and being in this space, that our El is different than others. And that's another thing, because if you're not tuned into the right frequency of the right deity, that's going to mess you up too. And so all of this comes apart that when you finally get the right frequency, when you finally on that right station, you get you like, yes, man, I'm straight now because I'm at home. I'm with people that I can have conversations that we can talk about things that the other people is not interested. And so that's the part that I really appreciate in this moment. And that's why as we build on this, it's going to be a moment. So yeah, I just wanted to share that briefly, and I'll continue later. But yeah, I just want to take that moment to share.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I see we have some movement in the chat as well. So I just wanted to touch on all of that before we move on. Peace, Ross Kush. Peace, Akizak. Akizak says, create a life worth living.
Yes.
And looks like I'm gonna have to go off screen for a little just to let some people in the house. Chief Yuya says, comfortable lives of wimps.
Yep.
Isaac says, makes me think of the segment that Chief did on success too. Right. You're making succession towards your goal, and you're not thinking, I'm supposed to be there already, or success is this grand thing. Okay, 1 second. I'm sorry.
Okay. So while we're waiting on Master Menyelek, I was just reading the chat as he was reading. So Akizak mentioned, man, that is city living too. Things are already carved out and defined. It's almost blocks one's imagination. Imagination. Akizak also put, or you can't find a way to monetize what you're doing. Yeah. And then Chief wrote, the human body has 144,000 crystals. Those crystals tune into transmissions, receiving, and information storage. There are many frequencies active in the human body. Yes, Chief. Yeah, wow. And I forgot about that part. You're right, like Chief just mentioned, 144,000 crystals. Just think about that. 144,000 crystals. So if those crystals, let's just say a quarter of those crystals are off, that's enough to get the wrong frequency. That's just enough. Just a quarter of that. Akizak put in the chat, what's the saying that Chief says, question will send one on a quest to seek. Yep. Akizak also mentions navigators in life are the best. If I could give one thing to everyone in the world, it would be the presence of wise counsel. Yes. And he said, Abba Herut, I forgot that part too. Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you don't have proper counsel, and that's the thing that it helped me to steer me in life. I was always, I did have growing up elders that were able to help me, guide me through. If it wasn't for them, wow. I mean, wise elders. You don't have that today. I used to share with someone, I said, there's no more big mamas no more. Okay. I was raised by my great grandmother. Okay. My grandmother's mother. And so when you're around, and then with her sister, and so when you're around people that have wisdom and they utilize that, today they don't have that. So everybody's tuning into a cell phone. It's amazing. People just tune into frequency. We talk about frequency, right? They tune into other things that's unnatural and interesting, because now people are talking about this metaverse. So now they want to go to a world because it's selling. That's the new thing Zuckerberg and them are doing off of Facebook. Yeah, I heard they don't call it Facebook; they call it something else. So now we're going to send you to a metaverse where you can just buy anything you want, but it's not real, and people are going to buy into it. Like hell, I am. But anyhow, they can go right ahead. But that's going to be the new tune. We're talking about tuning in. People are literally talking about tuning in something that's totally unnatural, totally foreign, and comfortable with it, which again takes you away, weans you away from deity, weans you away from thinking, weans you away from being responsible. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting how people are distracted with these gadgets we call cell phones. with all the different apps and all the different stuff going. It's amazing. But go, anything else you want to add, Master Menyelek?
Yeah, I think it's really key when you talk about making sure you tune into the frequency of your L, as opposed to tuning into anything outside of that, and anything outside of that original design that you got, because it really does mess you up. You know, it throws you off of your path. Um, you may take years to get back on it, you know, and you may look back at your life um, and really be like, what was I thinking? You know, you're off. You were so off the path, and when you finally get back on, it's like, wow. Sometimes you take little detours, and they teach you lessons that the route that you had in your mind wouldn't have provided. But other times, you just went rogue. You know, you just make a hard left, and you keep turning left until you get back right. You know, and you don't realize how much time you can actually waste from doing something because you were curious, you know, or I kept telling, I was told not to do this, I was told not to do that, but I was so curious. I had to try it. I had to see what was going on. Life is about exploring, right? Yeah, but you were told certain things that you are not to do, you know, and you have that spirit of rebellion in you because again, you're not listening to that internal voice, as Chief was saying. You're listening to what's going on outside, and what's going on outside is don't listen to him. He's boring.
Right.
You know, like you often see those moments in cartoons where someone has like a moral dilemma and they got like the angel and the devil duelists. You
Yeah.
know, one is like you know what you have to do. You already know what the right decision is, and the next one is yeah, but you know what you want to do. You know, you know what's going to bring you satisfaction, and you have to choose to either tune yourself in to that right voice that's loud and clear, or tune it out, you know, and move out of tune consciously. And you're like, well, after I've gotten what I wanted, then I'll tune back in. But who knows how long that's going to take, you
Right.
know, or how far off of your path that's going to take you, you know. But you consciously tune it out because you really want this thing, and then when you get it, it's like I was like Aki Zak would say, I think this is his. I think so. He said the juice ain't worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Speaking of Brother Zach, he said, I would say that they are there. Some just need to look up and tune in instead of tuning out with their face into their phone, right? Yeah. Chief says tuning into the vibration of fiat currency is no different. Still locking into the beast solution, right? Because the money ain't fake, just like metaverse ain't fake. Ain't real.
Right.
I mean, the money ain't real, just like metaverse ain't
Right.
real. People are spending lots of bitcoins to buy real estate in the metaverse. You know, when you could actually buy actual land. You know, Brother Doc says, and the sad part is that once you have a certain experience, some of the things you can't return from, right? I saw a man go to an ayahuasca event and came back out of his mind. Yeah.
Wow.
I said, that ain't mine. That's been around for a lot longer than me. But I'll take it. Yeah, I bet you will. I bet you will.
But you know what? I want to build off of what you just shared. And that is, can you imagine living your life? And I can remember this. Worshiping the wrong ill. When Chief brought that up with us, and I'm like, I'm like, wait a minute. Because when you ask people that question, they don't know that they're worshiping the wrong ill. There are so many different ills that are fighting each other for competition. Talking about tuning in. When I'm so grateful for Chief, because like I said, when you're in a space where you're able to receive, again, because everybody can't receive that. going back to what Chief was mentioning in the chat, each of us has 144,000 crystals in us. But then can you imagine that when you're receiving something and that crystal within you doesn't receive that knowledge? And so you can't resonate with it because why? You're not in tune. But just to sit with that, you go your whole life and you worshiping the wrong deity, that wrong ill. When I found out that I'm like, wow, now I understand why I was going through certain things. And this is the thing that most of us know, especially Black people, because damn it, I love it that, you know, and I want to, and that's why as I build off of this and I have conversation with people, and right now I'm not liked. I'm I have conversations with family members. I'm just gonna say that. And I notice that when I bring up stuff, people think I'm brainwashed. I'm like, what the hell? I've heard people say some dumb ass things. I'm just gonna say it because I said y'all retarded. And the funny thing about it is, when I share, I'm sharing the experience of life, and I'm sharing that because of the confusion and because of the chaos. And so when we talk about culture, and we talk about our culture, no one else's culture. I'm so proud of our culture. So now I'm trying to build. We're building this culture again, tuning into what is totally natural to us. And then when I share with certain people, I understand. I get it. I said, and that's what I accept about them. I said, you know what? I get it. My concept of understanding, because that was the purpose of all this in the begin with. I was open to being corrected and open to learning something that I was not going to learn from somewhere else. Meaning, you're not going to learn in school. You're not going to learn in the church. Churches don't, because they have their own deities. They have their own ills. And I didn't know back then that I was supporting that. And I was a devout Catholic. And I grew up, and I'm grateful for that experience because that experience got me to where I'm at today. And that's going back to what you're saying. When, I don't curse the experiences I went through because those experiences helped me understand this moment. If I didn't go through some of those things, because I had to go through a lot of things like we all do. We all have to go through some things in our life that is not pleasant. But then the question is, once you come out of it, because I remember my moment when I came out of the church. And I was pissed when I found out some things that I'm like, and of course I didn't know that's not I understand it's not my culture, but I didn't really understand it until much later, like until we came in and I knew. And so when you find out the truth and you've like, I've been doing this and I'm thinking I'm not breaking the laws, but like I said, anytime about like right now, Esther's coming up. And I heard some probably talk about going to get some damn Easter baskets. I'm like, and you know it's melanated people. And I'm like, but it's okay. Y'all go get your damn Easter baskets. It's okay. Go ahead and get your Easter. I know you're going to color them and everything, and you're going to do that ritual. I remember because I used to do it. Yeah, I know. Hey, at least I know better now. Because that's had nothing to do with culture. And it's funny because it had nothing to do with resurrection. But, and going back to tuning in. Had nothing to do with, rabbits and all kinds. I'm like, what the hell? But anyhow, that's not my deity. That's not my ill. Y'all go right ahead. Go right ahead. Y'all can paint yourselves up. It's all I care. I don't care anymore. Because when you tune in to the right frequency, you now know better. And right. I'm grateful that I was always searching and seeking and never satisfied because I'm like, okay, that don't resonate. So I'm like, I'm keep seeking. And then you finally, you get that tune and like, oh, yeah. And so, but the funny thing about it, it's amazing to me how, and that's something, how people think that they're worshiping whatever the ill they belong to. And then they go and break the law. They break the commandments or break or make excuses or justify being dysfunctional, justify being imbalanced, justify in being out of sync and eating the foods, you're forbidden foods. In the scriptures, it clearly states certain things we're not supposed to eat. There's certain people we're not supposed to be around. There's certain things we're not supposed to put in our bodies. But then it's so funny that we come so comfortable, like Chief mentioned, we're so comfortable and going against the grain, or better yet, going against what the Most High says. And then justifying it by saying it's okay. Or as the Reverend, as they're going, and a week from now, they're going to eat some ham, and they're going to have some lobster, and they're going to have all kinds of crazy stuff on the table. And then the minister's going to come over, because after he did this 8-hour damn sermon, which is boring as hell, and they're going to come over his house, or come over somebody's house, and they're going to bless it. Lord, bless this pork chop. Bless all this. May it nurture our food, nurture our bodies. Amen. And I'm like, I can't participate in that anymore, because it's insane. It's crazy. It's deranged. But it's okay. I see it. And now I speak out. I tell people, don't invite me over your house. Well, don't worry about it. I ain't coming anyway. Because Sabbath, I don't go out anyway. So, but don't invite me over your house, because if I see something, I'm going to say it. I'm old enough now to say it. I don't give a damn no more. But anyhow, it's amazing. So it's, when you were sharing that, it's like people just like, that just amazes me. It just still does. But anyhow, I know I said a lot. I'm just building off what you were sharing. So it's,
No, it's good, man. It's all good. What you were saying was right on point in terms of knowing that something you were told not to do something, and you do it anyway, and you also try to make it. You try to justify it, right? You try to make it right, or you try to explain
right.
it away. And it's like, oh well, those laws don't apply anymore, so we can do this. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and when you're off balance like that, and you have that sort of dissonance going on internally, you can actually make yourself sick,
Right.
very easily, because of that internal imbalance. And some more stuff in the chat, and then we can touch on some other things moving forward. Chief says, when your internal crystals are not in tune, they literally form clusters within you and can seriously impair your health. Calcium crystals do this when there are bone issues. Yeah, so you talk about being out of sync with what's going on internally. And even what Chief was saying earlier, in terms of those crystals being in your body and them transmitting, receiving, and storing information. And it's funny enough, we were talking about radios, because that's what radios do, right?
Mm-hmm.
They transmit, they receive, and they store information, because they actually convert information is given to them through zeros and ones, and then it comes out as it comes out as the tones and frequencies that it's programmed to give out, based on the information it receives. So what are you giving out in terms of your auric field, or what are you giving out in terms of just how you fix your face?
Mm-hmm.
All of that is a reflection of what's going on internally. And there are some things that have been there for so long that you don't even realize they were there. Like when you mentioned brainwashing, Zach was like, yeah, my brain has been washed. I still got a lot more washing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Brainwashing got a bad rap. In terms of cleaning your brain from certain days, like you were told not to eat pork, but you eat it anyway. Everyone tells you not to eat pork.
Right.
Even the secular society is like, pork will make you sick. It
Mm-hmm.
will give you parasites, but we're still gonna sell it to you.
Right.
Or I think True Health Live, Sister Yafe and Ema Yakira Eden, they were talking about all of these hair care products that are now causing cancers. And it was funny enough. I went to the dentist today, and they're playing TV. Sometimes I forget TV is a thing, because I'm so used to YouTube now. So it's sort of like newspapers. But they were playing a commercial, and sure enough, it was one of those sad commercials. Like, have you contracted cancer from these using these hair care products? But you tell me that 30 years later, after you've made how much money off of me, now you're
Right.
telling me I'm sick. I need to buy some medication from you, meaning you can make even more money off of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you sell me the sickness, then you sell me the cure, right? Not the healing, just something that'll keep me going for the next couple of years. You know, it's like it was from Goodfellas, I think. Rodney Dangerfield. He told a joke. A guy went to the doctor and said, "Doc, I'm sick." The doctor checked him out and gave him 6 months, 6 weeks to live. And he came back and he said he couldn't bake, so he gave him another 6 weeks. You
Right.
know, like I want to keep you alive just to pay me. But
Right.
if you're alive and you don't need to pay me, I don't care about you.
Right.
You know, but again, that's like being tuned into that frequency of fiat currency. Even the people who are supposed to be healing you, something has to be in it for 'em, you know, monetary wise. Something
Mm-hmm.
has to be. I gotta get paid for this. I went to school for all these years. You think you ain't gonna pay me? You know. So Nehemiah, Isaac says, when you find out the truth, you can easily get angry too, especially at the people that you trusted with your education and upbringing. Yeah, yeah, that's a big one because you find out something that you were taught was real or true, but you realize it was false, and then you step back and it's like, wait a minute, you didn't tell me this because you were being malicious. You just didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
You did not know that pork would make you sick. I don't know how, but you did not know that this public education system is designed to make you a slave. You didn't know that. You thought it was to help everyone get a good job. You know, because there might have been a time when nobody knew how to read, and now this place is teaching everybody how to read, and through that education, you can make yourself better, make your life better. But now it gets to the point where, okay, we've gotten to a point where we know we can make people's lives better, but we're not going to get as much out of it as we could if we do this thing over here because our loyalty is to fiat currency.
Mm-hmm.
Or even with the industrial age, we knew that we had been overproducing for a couple of years now, but it doesn't mean we have to stop production. We'll just create a desire inside of people so that they keep consuming, you know, regardless of the fact that they don't need it for utility, they'll still feel like they need it because of their emotions, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and we'll just inform their emotions or we'll inform their feelings, you know. So all of that, when you realize that's what you've been fed all this time, you look at commercials or you look at, like, there's a sitcom playing inside of the dentist too, and I was watching it like, this is sick. You know, talking about shows that were made specifically for black people. This is sick, right?
Right.
Here it is. You have a single father and a daughter, and then you have those who go in at odds with which school he's gonna send the daughter to, and she has like equal say in where she goes to schools. He doesn't realize he doesn't vet the school properly, so he wants to send her to this upscale school where she's gonna be around a bunch of young rich girls who have no chaperoning, right? They want to willingly come from under their coverings. They're telling her about, okay, when you get in, we'll tell you where to get fake IDs so you can get into college parties. You know, we'll tell you how you can get drugs and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
he's over there talking to their parents like, this is the best school ever. You know, we have no delinquency and it's not like those other schools. And so he's like, all right, I'll take on the projects. But you didn't realize that there's other dangers here. So you let your guard down. Meanwhile, she wants to go to the projects because it's a performing arts school,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And what does she do? She calls the grandparents because she doesn't like her father's decision. And the grandmother comes in and says, "Oh, don't worry, baby, I'm here to help." And the grandfather just comes in behind, like just broken down, like, "Yeah, I'm just like always. I'm just here for the ride." And it's like, what is this? What am I watching? You know, both the men are wearing blue, both the girls are wearing pink or red. It's like, okay, I see who you want to be the man in this situation. And it's like, but I wouldn't know that. You know, growing up watching, I said, like, they're just talking. This is how people are. You know what I mean? It's similar to with Miles Davis when he was in the interview and he said, the interviewer was like, "You said you don't like American women." He's like, "Why?" He's like, "Because American women act like TV. They see something on TV and they just act like that. You know, they don't really think about it. Um, they don't think things through, their reactions through, because your reactions have been pre-programmed, and you've tuned into that as opposed to what's going on internally and analyzing those internal processes. You'll tune into something external and be like, "That's how I should act. If I ever find myself in that situation, she just said something really clever. That was real clever, child. They had no response. I'll keep that."
Mm-hmm.
You know, all men doing the same thing. You don't go over your internal processes. You just keep absorbing something from the external, and they have all the bases covered there too. You run a business, all those bases are covered. You
Mm-hmm.
teaching children, all those bases are covered. So are you tuning into what Babylon is pumping out, you know, or what Babylon is transmitting, or are you tuning into the frequency of your creator, which dwells inside of you? You know, and if you keep pumping all of those external messages into your psyche, then the internal messages are going to become more and more difficult to tune into. You know, so how do you upgrade yourself if you're tuning into the wrong frequency? You'll make yourself better for your enemies as opposed to bettering yourself for your yeah.
Right. It's interesting. As you were sharing, I was thinking about what you know broadcast, and one of my professors, um, I love his class because his class actually talks. We're talking about the ill, our particular ill, and L. I'm sorry, I didn't mean ill. I meant L. So it's interesting because what a lot of people don't realize is going on in the world is that it's a broadcast. Talking about frequency, tuning in. There's a broadcast. It's a signal, just like the Wi-Fi around us. We can't see it, we can't smell it or anything, but it's there. Okay. So it's a broadcast. And that broadcast is there to send out signals. So if you're living in a low vibrational state, if you're thinking negative, if you're acting negative, if you're eating the wrong foods, if you certain things that will resonate with your broadcast. Going back to what Chief said about your crystals. So now your crystals are not. It's because of bad health, bad thinking, bad creation, bad L. So now the broadcast, and that's why I understand why people so succumb to the negativity we call life, and because of they tune into that certain frequency, and that frequency is very on point. And it's so interesting when he broke that down. I learned this last year in one of the classes, and so I'm still studying it because it's much. But we were talking about this because this pertains to health. It pertains to your balance. It pertains to your resonating with the right deity. And so if you don't know, so now like I it's so funny. You make me laugh about Aki Zach. But Chief mentioned this. If you don't, I'm not saying it's right, but the quote was, if you don't choose, okay, your culture. I just use culture. If you don't resonate with your righteous culture, one will be choosing for you. Okay, and sure enough, people don't realize that because you choose not to be in the righteous culture, one will be set for you. And so when it's set for you, guess what? You will broadcast that frequency. You will broadcast those dysfunctions, like we say in the solutions to dysfunctional families. And then in order to get out of it, because the broadcast is so loud, the audible in it is so strong that people don't resist. And so we had to learn, a lot of us in the class, we have things where we can, again, how do you vibrate at the right frequency? So I have tools that have it where you can tone out those negative broadcasts. And for those people don't really in the audience, that type of broadcast, again, so in other words, can you imagine, let's say for instance, while we're here talking and you're sitting here thinking, you're sitting here, just say you resonate with us, and all of a sudden a thought comes in your mind, and you're thinking, damn, I have a taste for a pork chop sandwich. Now, mind you, you weren't thinking about no pork chop. I just use that as an example. You weren't thinking about no damn pork chop. You were thinking about a segment. But all of a sudden, you had a thought. The problem is, where did that thought come from? It came from a negative vibration or a broadcast. And then what most people do, because right now we are in Ramadan. And of course, we fast during the day. But I know that for some of us, gotta cheat. That broadcast is loud. Oh, that's sweet. So they calling me. Or everybody else is around me eating. She ain't gonna know. Nobody in I knew is gonna know. Nobody. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna do it anyway. But people don't realize what you're doing. You're not tuned into the right frequency. Because why? One, you're weak. And this is what contributes to being weak in thought, weak in actions, because that's when you're weak in thought, you also go weak in actions. And guess what? You succumb to whatever the hell everybody else does. And so if you don't tune in to the right frequency, you will succumb. And I've seen that happen. I see it happen every day. You will succumb to the world, dysfunctions, and you won't even be able. It's like that rabbit hole. You go so deep, and that is for most people. That is for, as we say, the 85%ers. Most of them are not going to come out. They're going to stay asleep. They're going to stay in that hole, and they'll never climb out. Why? Because when you keep continually over and over again, where you just violate divine laws. You think the Most High is going to bless you for violating that, and that is not the case. But we do it anyway. Because why? Jesus is not going to hold you accountable, because that's another thing I had to tell a client. I said, y'all act like, you know why y'all continue to do it? Because you know damn well that Jesus Christ ain't going to come down and condemn you for doing what you're doing. You know that. But that's why you continually do the same dumb ass thing, thinking you're going to get away with it. But it's going to come back. And when it comes back, it's going to come back hard.
Oh, he didn't got muted out. Yeah, he got muted out. Yeah, YouTube don't like that. They don't like that language. All right, so while we wait for our Herut to come back, excellent points he was making though on you being dissonant. Again, you moving with that dissonance. You know that you say that you vibe with this one system over here. This one system is telling you this is the right way to live your life. But it also tells you, if you mess up, then there's been a price paid for you messing up, right? Or there's been a price paid for your sins, and now you get a chance to wipe the slate clean and come right back. It's like, okay, so what that means is I should just abuse this maliciously. So that's like if you have a friend that do anything you ask them to do. And this is the conception in the mind, right? You have a friend that do anything you ask them to do, and no matter how many times you disrespect them, they'll just forgive you. No consequences, no questions asked. They'll just forgive you, and you can keep moving on. If your first instinct is to just abuse that relationship, like just keep doing whatever you want to do and be like, I'm sorry, I'll change. I'm sorry, I'll change. I'm sorry, I'll change. You know that if you did that to a human being walking around in front of you right now, how many people do you know would actually be like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it, every single time? You wouldn't do that to them because you know that there's a breaking point. Even if you know that they will say that, you still, if you had any type of respect from them, you would still say, nah, I can't do that to this person. They're always in my corner. They always help me out. When I need advice, I could always turn to them. When I need direction, I could always turn to them. When I need a leg up, I go begging them. So I can't break their laws or their commandments, or I can't break their rules or overstep my boundaries. I'm not going to do that to them, because they've been nothing but good to me. Even if you come from that aspect, it would be better than saying, well, I'm going to do this and don't worry, he'll be all right. Or don't worry, she's fine. She doesn't mind. If you treat anybody like that, that you're a scumbag. So why would you treat your creator, who you call your creator, or who you call your God, like that? You're out of whack. You're out of sync with what's going on. You're in sync with your desires, but you're out of sync with what it is that you've committed yourself to. Welcome back, Herut.
Yeah, that was a test. Now
you
Coach
got kicked out
Yafe,
for cursing so much.
that was a test
Yeah,
of the emergency broadcast system, because in my area, we're talking about frequency and tuning in. I love lightning and thundering. So I'm like, I wish I'd be outside now. I love it. Because people are afraid of lightning and thundering. I love it. I love lightning and thundering. But that was a test. That was a test from the emergency broadcast system. So Coach Yafe, that was from you. That was from you. It's okay, because like everything, life is a test. And and hey, so I'm back. It's okay.
All right. All right. I'm gonna continue with the chat so we can keep up with it. Peace, Margie Marie Art. Chief Julia says pin those acidic eggs and then feed that chicken menstruation to your children. Oh yeah, talking about Easter. Yeah. The thing I had to learn from Chief was that some are giving the best of what they know, and I may be their only opportunity to model a better life for them. And this is true. This is true. Emma Guia says imbalance occurs when crystals called autoconia in the inner become dislodged. Okay. All right now. Come with terminology. Orientation is affected as well. Are you talking about orientation in terms of your balance, like your physical balance? Isaac says then one becomes dysregulated and start acting all kinds of crazy. I think that was referring to something earlier.
Okay.
Something I said earlier. Yep, that's Big Pharma. Okay, talking about the cures. And like Isaac said, right, just hitting you from every angle. It's like that clip that Chief posted the other day when he said we will solve our own problems when it came to a question that the reporter asked. Right. Yeah, it's like you trying to hit me from every angle now. You've already brainwashed your country. But that's not enough. You got to come over to another continent and ask them why they haven't accepted your ideology. The arrogance of it. You know what I mean? Like, are you crazy? Isaac, obedience is better than sacrifice. Sound like one needs to do a dang genogram on them boys. I don't know what that means. Make me hip to the slang. Meso will have an effect on the micro. However, one thinks that they can bully the environment. I think that's supposed to be macro. Correct me if I'm wrong, Akizak. He also says, I'm one of the eldest brothers on the block too, Herut. We know what you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking about ill. Like it says in the Anu way, the most important choice that everyone will make is choosing what L to serve. Right? And Chief says, when you're broadcasting someone else's agenda, you are marked with the beast. You become one of those millions of tiny points of light that George Bush talked about many years ago. I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with George Bush. I just know the dummy that they tell us he is. That's usually all the clips I get about George Bush is he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Don't mind him. He's dumb.
And guess who beat him? Biden.
Who beat him with what?
Meaning dumb.
With being the dumbest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those dumb ones, they get away with the
Yeah.
worst policies.
They're famous now. They're famous now. Not in my culture.
Rasker says mass consumption equals mass dysfunction. The irony of the secular culture is that investment spent consuming towards its product position, its products positions its participants to be fed back into the Babylon. That was a tongue twister. Let me read that again. Mass consumption equals mass dysfunction. The irony of the secular culture is that investment spent and that investment is actually consuming. Investment spent towards its products, positions, and its participants. Its products positions its participants to be fed back into the system. Okay, I got you. So the more you consume, the more you're fed back into the beast. Or like in the Matrix, you become an agent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, look, the train that came on time. Oh, I think you're talking about the Matrix with the train.
Yeah.
The train master.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny what he said. Down here I make the rules. Down here I'm God. So I don't know where you came from, or I know you think you hot sugar honey iced tea where you came from, but down here I'm God. Chief Year says that cheating on the pledges you make to your community removes you from our feasting table in the afterlife. Yeah, you will not dine with the community in the gates of Valhalla.
Nope.
You ain't getting in. Sabbath Hava says, yes, our Herut, that's so true. Everything we ingest, both physically and spiritually, plays a part of who we are. Bless this mess. Bless this pork and all the parasites.
Uh-huh.
Sister Sovereignty says your last point shows that people yearn for a clear culture so much so that they would rather live a life of dysfunction and call it their culture, but they will never be able to discern a righteous journey. But as Zach says, when the shadow falls and see it all, it will come back to you. I forgot the name of that song. Yeah, I don't know it either. Thin line between love and hate. And then, of course, Akio Garage coming in right on time. I ain't gonna sing it. You can sing it. South Sahaba says, what a price to pay for cheating with food that's not even good for you. Exactly. It's not even good. It's not like I don't bring up no examples. It's not good. It's not good for you. But it's okay, Lord, know my heart. Blood of Jesus. I'm going through it too, Abba. I got it too. Aggie Doc said, if I had $1 for every time that I've heard that I would have $40. Meso, macro, and micro. Okay, I'm not familiar with meso. I only know macro and micro. Put me on, Agizak. Chief Yuya says during his presidency, George Bush Sr. handed out Point of Light Awards 6 days a week to citizens working to aid their communities through volunteer work. He was talking Illuminati talk. Oh, I saw.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's George W. and then there's George H.W.
Right,
okay.
Senior.
And that's the senior.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Talking about tuning in. I never tuned into it. When I was younger, I really had an interest in politics. I honestly thought turning on any news station was a waste of time because they were lying to you anyway. Until I learned, okay, some of the lies they're telling, they'll let you know what they're trying to cover up. So it's like I'm a tune in, but I don't know. I never liked it when I was younger. It's like this is a waste of time. I don't watch cartoons.
But look at it now. today it's comfortable to lie.
Mm-hmm.
And B is in your face, and people are in tune. Talking about tune, they're in tune to it as if it's the truth.
Yeah.
We were just talking about, Chief just mentioned George W. and George W. Right, George H.W. and George. That was 20 some years ago. We didn't get to 9/11 and all that. When I shared with someone about the Twin Towers and everything, now today, that's nothing. That's nothing. Today, people are so in tune with the lie and will protect the lie with all cost, to the point that when you tell the truth, you're an idiot. They look at us as an idiot. It's amazing that with this pandemic, how people are so in tune with it and so okay with it. I was sharing with one of the brothers, and I was sharing about in Chicago how, it's out there about the vaccines and everything. And I said, no, in Chicago, I know something happened in New York, but in Chicago, there's certain places here that you can't get hired unless you've been vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, are you kidding me? I said, no, that shit's still going on. Because why? And he ain't saying nothing. Why? Because it's part of the, like Chief said, it's part of the broadcast now. The beast has it now. And we were, when it's interesting that was shared about Job. And where we're, from the midday affirmative with with Occulti Yahweh, or how he was tested and how he was going through things. And today it's like everyone just accepts it. It's just accepted now. And that's interesting, because when I see people now and they are so accustomed to the lie that you could tell the truth behind the lie, they already believe the lie better than they will accept the truth. And it's so fun. It's so funny how I see things play out now, that they'll tell you what they're going to do and know it's a lie, because people are going to do it anyway. Just like the next pandemic coming. They're broadcasting it. Going back to what Chief said, the market beat, they're broadcasting it. It's already out there. And people they let you know. They said people so dumb, they just accept it to the point where let it come. So what I was proposing for, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put emotion out there. I don't belong to that culture anyway. I don't have nothing. I separated from that culture back in 2010. But I was promoting. I was saying, well, damn, since Bill Gates should get a Nobel Peace Prize. He should. I think he should be nominated. And not just him. All of them that are so smart. Because they are. I mean, that little 1%ers. I'm sorry, the 5%ers. That are so, they are part of this whole drama. That they were able, and again, it's amazing how people just synchronize to something. Like I said, the pork chop ain't nothing. The pig's feet, like that, they're gonna celebrate next week, because Palm Sunday, I guess, is coming up this week, and then Easter. Oh yeah, Esther. They ain't nothing. They already programmed and synchronized to something that is going to be greater and worse than what a pork chop is, because it's everybody does it. And if you don't do it, something's wrong with you, Master Menyelek. Something's wrong with you, El Karar. Something's wrong with you, Yakira Eden. Something's wrong with you, Yahweh. Something's wrong with us. Something wrong with us. Some of us in the chat. Because why? What do you mean? They will argue with you that if it wasn't the Most High, well, not the Most High, but if I remember someone said, if God didn't want us to eat the pork chop, why he give us a pig? I said, are you out your damn mind? But anyhow, never mind, I get it. Because you're rationalizing the dysfunction. I know. I actually had that conversation. I said, wow, you know what? That's smart. That's dumb smart. But anyhow.
It makes sense, don't it?
Why not?
Think about it, bro.
Exactly. If he didn't want us to eat it, why did he give us the pig? And why did I'm like, wow, you thought all that all by yourself, right? But that's the point. Go ahead and get the jab. Why? Everybody's doing it. It's okay. You're not getting it? Why not? I don't want to get sick, but you are sick. You're already. I was sharing with I had a talk with another doctor. I said, y'all got it all messed up. People have been taking pharmaceuticals. So it's, again, going back to broadcast. If you've been ingesting pharmaceuticals, an aspirin, cough syrup, whatever is that is not natural, whatever was made in a lab, you already caught in it. That's why before the so-called vax, they didn't have no problem because you were already caught up in anyway. And then some people's body, going back to what Chief said about your body has got crystals in it. Your body is so immune to the dysfunction and so synchronized to the dysfunction that if you don't take that pharmaceutical, you will die. So why not? Go along with it. As you were saying about you had the angel on one and you had the devil on the other side. I said, go right ahead. Why not? Go ahead and you've been eating it all your life anyway. I remember there was a joke with it was a joke where dang it, I'm trying to think of the movie, but it was like Farrakhan ain't around here. Go and eat that pork chop, man. Those are some soy ribs. Go and eat those soy ribs. And he was like, it was Martin Lawrence. He was like, don't right, Farrakhan, the last king of Scotland. Go ahead and eat. There ain't nobody around here. We ain't gonna say nothing. Don't worry about it. Go on and eat those. Just pretend they're soy ribs. Go ahead. Put some more barbecue sauce on there. And people just gulp it all up. Why? Because you're in sync with it. You're in company with the people that you're surrounded with. Go ahead. Eat it. Go ahead, take it. Go ahead, and nobody gonna do it. Ain't gonna hurt you. And so the beast, this is going back to synchronizing, because it's natural now to live a lie. And it's natural. It's not. But when you just go along with the program, when you go along with the broadcast, when you go along with the wrong frequency, don't worry. Someone else said something. Come to my mind. You laughing at that one? I'm going to die anyway. Damn. I might as well eat this pork chop. I'm going to die anyway.
Yeah, that won't be
not going to live forever.
You got to let something kill you.
I'm like, wow.
You got to let something kill you.
I'm like, wow. So it's like, interesting. That is why I'm grateful for us in our new, because I'm surely going to separate. Surely, but surely. I get it right. I'm not going to put in the chat anyway.
Slowly but surely?
Yes. I have to separate. Because why? That culture, I can't hang around with it. Because why? Association, why would I want to? Because it's association. It's not my culture. It's not my frequency. It's not my vibration. If it is, if I hang around with it long enough, it's going to affect my thinking. It's going to affect my actions. And this is why separation is so important. Well, for some of us, because I'm definitely getting ready. Because, like 20 years ago was nothing with George W. He's actually smarter than the president they got now. Wow. Makes him like a saint. But guess what? That's okay. That's their culture. That's the way they want to do it. No problem. And everybody bought into it because they can put someone in there and run them and
Right, but
wake them up and
it
charge them
comes
up a
with
little
that
bit. To
it
do what the
comes
hell
with
they...
that desire of wanting things to go back to normal.
Yeah.
Right. And normal is the tune or the frequency that you're tuned into. This is what I bought into, and I want everything to go back to normal and back to the thing that I bought into. Right.
Mhm.
We're supposed to have sales every weekend. We're supposed to be able to go out. We're supposed to be able to meet up with people and eat and drink and go to the club and try to get people to come home and sleep with us. We're supposed to be able to go to work, make money, supposed to be able to pay our bills. We're supposed to be able to send our children to good schools so they could grow up and do the same thing we're doing. Like, I want that normal back. I don't want this normal where I'm not sure what the rules are going to be tomorrow. Every time I wake up, there's a new rule I got to follow. There's something else I can't do. There's something else I have to pass a test for. There's something else I can't say. There's something else I can't not say. And it's just I just want to go back to normal. I just want my ham sandwich. You know what I mean? I just want my ham sandwich. Akizaku's, give thanks to Akizaku's breaking down at Oxen to put me on because I was completely ignorant. I thought I was correcting him. Little that I know, these are terms I never heard before. So he's telling me he's showing the prefixes, right? You see anything that starts with techno, it deals with media influence. If it's micro, then it's direct interacting and activities. If it's meso, it deals with relationship to the microsystem. If it's exo, it's a system that influences the individual indirectly. If it's macro, it values and norms of the culture. And if it's chrono, it deals with times and historic influence. You baby bust up my nose. Okay. Put on his monocle. All right, Akizak, give thanks. Give thanks. See that? I was just tuned up. Just now. That's an example of being tuned up. Because I had to tune into his eldership.
Yeah.
The fact that he knows what he's talking about. I thought he was out of tune. Little did I know I was out of tune. Right? So I was able to tune into his eldership and I was tuned up. I tuned into the right frequency. I could have been like, you don't know what you're talking about. It's macro. It's micro and it's macro. And that's all there is to it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But here it is now. I was given an opportunity to grow, right? Or be tuned up. And if you're not tuned into the right frequency, you'll be tuned up, but you'll be tuned up to do something that it goes against your design. Or you'll be used for a purpose that you weren't designed to execute or carry out. But if you tune into what your original directions are and your original design, if you have if you buy a machine, let's say the machine comes with a manual, or if you buy a car and the car comes with a manual, you buy a phone, let's say you buy a cellular device, and you don't tune into those original instructions, you'll mess around and use the wrong charger and short out your battery life. It's a phone. It goes with the charger. It's like, does the charger fit? Does the charger fit? Yeah, well, just plug it in. You know what I mean? And you short out the battery like that and wonder why it's not functioning the way it's supposed to. And then you'll call the phone stupid.
Right.
The stupid phone is always turning off. But you're not moving in proper fashion. And sometimes you take it to the shop and they're like, oh, you're charging it with the wrong charger. Now you need a whole new battery. Come back in like come back in like a yard, an hour. Come back in like an hour, and you come back in an hour. It's like, all right, I changed it. I gave you a new battery. That'll be $100.
Yep.
So it worked for them, but it didn't really work so much for you. And they may not. Some of them may not even tell you. Listen, if I'm the only one in town who fixes phone batteries, I may not tell you that you can actually save yourself some time by using the proper charger. I might just be like, all right, see you again. You know, literally, I will see you again. You know, because I didn't tune you up. I didn't tell you how to fix this problem or how to prevent this problem from happening again. No, now you can go out there and you can have a new problem. I didn't tell you that. I want you to have this problem. And I want you to come back to me. Because the only way I'll tune you up is so you can keep coming back to me. You know, that's the only kind of tune up I'll give you. I'll give you the phone with a new battery, but I won't tell you how to take care of that phone. You know, I'll just leave you out there high and dry. You'll be back. Don't worry. Another Quaalude, you can love me in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Chief VS says, on the 16th of January 1991, George B. did a speech about establishing a new world order where conduct of all countries would be governed by one body, and he saw 1,000 points of light. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. That's Illuminati talk.
Mm-hmm.
TG also said you're talking about 10 percenters mathematically, 1% is fiscally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she said, "True. How? Oh, I got moved. Okay, true. How could you not do whatever we tell you is best for you scientifically, even though the government sanctioned experiments on you less than 100 years ago? So how could you not take this vaccine that we have not tested or proven, or it was a rush order, or at least according to the news, it was a rush order. So you telling me you had this waiting in the wings?
Mm-hmm.
You just had that much forethought that you could just bust out this vaccine right away. You know, a couple months down the line, it's cool. Even though other vaccines take 10 years of trial and error to get it right. You're telling me you're 100% certain that this will work.
I learned that in one of my classes. Yeah, they never have done that before. It usually takes, like I said, 7 to 10 years or more.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't. It doesn't work like that. But they, like Chief said,
Yeah.
ain't worry about it. Y'all touch rats anyway. Y'all gonna take it and like it, and that's what they doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even with today, Yamina got a little sick. One of her nephews was sick, and she caught whatever they had. And she went to her family, the doctor her family always goes to. And he didn't even try to eliminate anything. He didn't start from like a conservative approach and work his way up to COVID. He went straight there. Like, you gotta have COVID. You gotta have COVID. You gotta have it. You know what I mean? So it's like, what are you tuned into? You know, and I can understand your need to test it, but you telling me like, no, you got that. It could be a cold. You couldn't rule out a cold first.
Exactly.
Tuskegee, right?
Yep.
Alcohol. Yeah, you got them Tuskegee experiments. Akizak says, makes me think of Doctor Strange when he went to the door and they gave him the chakra card and he got pissed. They kicked his butt out too. Oh man, I have another $40 for that one too. I don't know which one you're talking about.
The first one.
Yeah, every day.
That should have been. That's the first one.
What's that?
Doctor Strange.
No, I mean, if I had, he said something earlier. If I had $40, if I had $1 for every time I heard that one, I'd have $40. You know, and then he said it again. Oh man, I have another $40 for that one too. Agizak says, I'm ready for that ship if all those points of light come together. Marjorie Marie Art says, I just think keep doing this. Agree, separation is needed. It's always hard to separate from your family first when separating from a culture that's no good for you. The Chief Yuya says, right, Brother El Quran, the Tuskegee Research Project began in 1932, but even sterilizations of Native and melanin-dominant women continued throughout the 1980s in rural areas. El Quran says, yeah, Chief, it didn't end till the 1980s. It was just swept under the rug. I don't know what we're talking about here either. They all came back. They all come back. We gotta stay up to date with this chat. Sister Yafe says, oh, they've been uploading scheduled downgrades under the guise of updates on these phones. You will buy the new version no matter what. Oh, they all come back. Okay, I think you're talking about the phone battery.
That's why I don't upgrade it. I was somewhere and like, don't upgrade my I turn mine off. I turn those upgrade. I don't need that dang on stuff.
Yeah, TP says, well, there goes this video. That V-Talk is the quickest way to get a video blocked. Well, we have more videos for your viewing pleasure. Wait, did the video stop?
No.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I don't know. After what happened to Aki Elkara over the past few strongs, I don't know when they'll just block a video.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know when they'll shut it down. So I gotta check. I gotta do the mic check. Aki Elkara says, "We true soldiers and we don't die. We keep rolling." Nah. I don't know that one. We need a new karaoke night, something like that. All right, so y'all still rolling. All right, give thanks, Zach. Yeah, so even with the tune-up aspect, right? Once you tune into your L or your creator, the tune-up is automatic. It's like, yeah, that's all you've been running away from. Because Chief was talking about the pain of death.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying that we don't necessarily fear death, but we fear the fear of death, the pain of death. Jesus, sometimes I think I need some water. we fear the pain of death. We fear the pain of change, right? And when you're changing to do something that actually aligns with what your original intent was or your original design was, you fear the pain of losing the things that kept you misaligned. You fear the pain of losing the things that you used to keep you stuck. You mean to tell me I can't eat pork anymore? Yeah, and it always comes with a can't. So it's like, oh, so y'all can't do things on Saturday? Oh, y'all can't eat during Ramadan? Y'all can't eat during the solstice fast or equinox? Y'all can't walk out without having your hair uncovered. You can't make a decision without your covering. It's all of this can't. It's like, nah, this is what helps me to tune into what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. This is what keeps me connected to my culture. And your culture is supposed to tune you up. It's supposed to, like Steve said, it's supposed to make you smarter. So if your culture is supposed to make you smarter, why is it that me doing what makes me smarter is only perceived by others as what I can't do? Because you're in that statement, you're saying, this is what I'm aligned with, and this is what I consider to be a benefit or a perk of being aligned with Babylon. I get to do whatever I want, with very little accountability until it all slaps me in the face and I realize I can't pay that bill.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm supposed to be, Chief had asked a good question.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention. Yeah, I saw what he wrote. Text in the chat.
Yeah, how do we tune into our Creator? How do we know we have done it and not just convinced ourselves of such? Yeah, that's a good question. And I was thinking about that for a while too, in terms of how do you tune in? Not necessarily the idea of convincing yourself of such. But Chief was talking about in the segment earlier. You had mentioned the difference between freedom and liberty. And freedom being in the dome, and liberty being the physical thing, right? Your physical liberty. I'm at liberty to do this. I'm at liberty to have as much sex as I want, or eat whatever I want, or drink whatever I want. And a lot of that is what's cited as freedom nowadays. So if you tune into anything, people say, well, I can do this or I can do that. I can have sex and still find a suitable mate later on down the line, or I can ignore my biology and put myself in a position that forces me to act um, contrary to it. So I can put myself in a position to act like a female, even though I'm a male. Or I can put myself in a position to act like a male or be around males and not expect it to change my body chemistry. So there's a level of there's an idea of being free or being liberated. But on the flip side, there's also the idea that if I restrict myself um, to an extreme degree, then that's going to be pleasing to my creator, or it's going to show that I'm a good person. Like how some people are, like there's an insult that I used to hear. I don't hear it a lot anymore, but I used to hear it a lot in the 90s. Like, she's such a prude, talking about talking about a woman who wouldn't want to be promiscuous. She's such a prude, or she thinks she's better than me, or she thinks she's too good to have sex. Or what is she waiting for? Your standards are too high. But I think there is a balance that can be struck, but the balance isn't struck through any type of um, hard cognition or saying, well, I can do this or I can do that. Let me find a middle ground. Is really looking at what your creator had said.
Mm-hmm.
What does your creator say about this? What does your creator say about that? Right, being stuck up, Akizak. What does your creator say about this or that? What does your creator say um, about what you should eat or how you should dress? What is the rationale behind a lot of what the creator says? Is there like a thread that you're following here, and you don't get it all in one go, especially if you've been misaligned. It's like you used the example of radio earlier, right? And if you're looking for a certain station, you may be going back and forth looking for it, and you hear like faint voices, right? And you tune a little closer, and you hear the words a little bit clearer. You tune a little bit closer, and then it's like, oh, I can actually pick up fragments of sentences, and you just keep getting closer and closer, and it gets clearer and clearer, and you can hear what's being said, because you can still be tuning into a frequency that's off based on what your creator told you you're supposed to be doing, but at least it's like, okay, I know what that is. And if you're not um, if you're not studying or if you're not tuning into the frequency that was laid down for you, based on the words that were put in front of you, you won't be able to understand what is being said to you, or you won't be able to break it down or synthesize it and say this is from my L. But that's like the tricky part, because anyone could put any words in front of you, and you wouldn't know if you're tuning into your L or someone else's L. So that I don't I don't I don't have a surefire way to tune into the creator in terms of, well, just do this and you'll be okay. There's no one way to say if you just do this, you'll be okay. And what I mean by that is, oh, if you just eat right, you'll be in tune with the creator. Or if you stop having sex, you'll be in tune with the creator. Is how much have you studied these words that the creator put in front of you? And how much have you actually broken them down? How much of the culture do you understand? How many of your elders are moving with the same culture that you can go to, because you may not be able to figure it all out by yourself. What you're doing is a little off, and I'm going to help you to tune in a little bit better, and you get a tune up and it helps you to tune in a little bit better. And then you get another tune up and that helps you to turn in. So it's like you keep stepping up, or like an upward spiral, as Chief would say. You keep moving upwards. And each time you turn each turn of that spiral, you get a little bit sharper and a little bit sharper, and everything becomes a bit more clearer. But you have to start. You know, you may start with food. You may start with healthier sexual habits. Wherever you start, you know, it helps to bring you into balance. But there's no one thing. Just like there's no one law. You're given all of these laws because you already had the inkling to break them. You know, they may have been what was normal in your culture.
Right.
Right. Yeah, Chief said getting in tune requires you to be aware of the note you're currently sounding off. Then you will know which direction to tune in.
You know, as you're sharing, and I'm answering to answer Chief's question. I'm just going back to what Chief, because I want to make sure I do it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
How do you how do we tune in into our Creator? As you were sharing, Master, like I was contemplating the question, and for me, growing up was always a desire. I mentioned that even though in my youth, and in my time of striving, and even though at the time I did not know that I was not serving the right L, but it was the Most High that knew that my desire. And how that came about was I was always, the story of, in their JC, Jesus Christ. I always loved, and I still do. I love Jesus of Nazareth and everything, and because I always wanted to, I strive to be like Yahushua. Now, of course, I know it's Yahushua because I know who that right Christ is, that Creator was. So for me, how do you serve? Like Chief wrote in the chat. For me, it was a desire. It was always for me, a childhood desire. Once and going back to what Chief mentioned, in accountable for a purpose. My early youth, when I was in the church, I was always, the stories of Christ was always resonating with me. And so I always strive to be like Christ. And so, because when I hear Yahushua, when you desire, because it's a relationship. So for me, I want to make that relationship better. So that goes where silence. One of the things that helps me, I have to have silence. So I can hear. Not with these ears, but to resonate, to tune in, you have to get away from all the noise, the outer. And for me, what works for me is I tune in by getting away. Let go everything and tune in. And tuning in for me is the silence. I love it. That's one. Secondly, like Aki Zach put in the chat, obedience, when Chief mentioned that, obedience is greater than sacrifice. Obedience is greater than sacrifice. Obedience is greater than sacrifice. When Chief mentioned that, it clicked, because when you're being obedient, meaning that if you're striving to build this relationship, this bond, this moment with the Most High, it's a desire. It's something that it's a relationship. When you build that relationship and you know that, and so for me, how do I know? Well, one, my peace of mind, I notice that it keeps getting better and better over the years. And as I continue to grow, I know that as I resonate with him, now I'm acting where it's like one heartbeat. It's like a pulse. It's a vibration. The more you vibrate to the Most High vibrates to you. And then you don't, like you were mentioning about death, you don't have the same thoughts and the fears and the same confusion and the same chaos like you did or when I was younger. And so the more I resonate, the more I notice things become clearer. I notice that, and then from the inner development, then culture is very important. Because how can you say you resonate with the Most High? You resonate with that Creator, and you don't understand, because the first thing He's going to share with you is your culture, your righteous culture, which goes back to obedience. So when you keep vibrating and you keep striving and you keep desiring, it's a love affair. It's hard to put in words for me, but I can share with you. I can, when I first went to Egypt back in 2000. My first time was 2000. I think it was 2008. And I could hear I was going in the pyramids, and I was in there too. And I was amazed. I'll never forget. I was amazed by being in those tombs, being in that pyramid, and I can just hear that. I can hear the Creator saying, "You are so mesmerized by all this. Wait until you get home. You think all this greatness is great? Wait until you get back home." So I'm like, I don't know what that meant. So after over those years, I understand what he meant. What he was meaning is, don't get fixated by all this material stuff, and that you're in awe with these monuments because they're massive. These, and I love going there. But what he was saying is, the greatest, when you desire Him, you're going to be a living temple, and that it will resonate. That's where His presence is. So now His presence, when you're obedient and when you vibrate, you don't want to disturb that space, because if He vibrates in you, I let go anything that's disturbing to Him. I let go anything that is going to keep me from not vibrating with Him. So when Akizak, when he put out one of my last things I had to let go, and I'm always having to let go, was the shrimp. And El Karar put it, the snow roaches. It was easy to let it go, because once I was convinced, once I'm told, and again, and it's like, again, this love affair, if you gotta let it go, if you're still wrestling with letting something go, and the more you grow closer to Him, and you have to strip, and you have to let go anything that's going to hold you back. You have to resonate means you have to be able to let it all go. You have to be able to empty yourself completely and be refilled over and over. And when you think you got it, nope, you got to keep going. I think of the flowing of the river. I think of flowing of a stream. And so for me, to answering Chief's question, that's what's continuing to resonate with me. That's where I'm building that vibrancy and that being on that pulse. I look at it as a heartbeat. I always ask the Most High, I want my heartbeat to beat the same beat as yours, so we can beat together, so we can have one beat. So when I hear my heartbeat, this is my desire. So this is the thing that we in Anu, and this is in the Anu way, and this is what Chief is trying to get us to understand. When you put the Most High first and you tune in, He will let you know what channel you should be on. Mm. He'll let you know that you are tuning, like that tuning fork where we were talking about that earlier, or the metronome. Oh, metronome. I gotta make sure I say it right. Metronome.
Metronome.
It's like it goes back and forth. I saw one time I was at the flea market. I'm like, dang, I should have got that. You just behind me. I don't know if you can hear it. That clock. It's a beat. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love clocks. But it's not the clock, it's the beat. Because it's in sync. It keeps going. It doesn't stop. It just stays in sync. So when you're in sync, when you're tuned in, he will tune into you. When you desire to tune into him, he will desire to tune into you. So then you have one resonance. You have one vibrancy. But I noticed, like, they're getting ready to celebrate Esther. And Palm Sunday's coming. And Yahushua rides on the ass. And they're praising. Yes, that's my man. Yahushua, yeah. Go down, Yahushua, go ahead. And then supposedly a week later, crucify him. Why crucify him? Because you're too damn perfect. You're too resonant with the Most High. We don't want that. We don't want you to correct us from eating that damn pork chop. We don't want to hear you talk about the V. We don't want to hear you talk about the planet. We just want to, like you said earlier, we just wanted to go back to normal. So when Yahushua says, when they were questioning him, well, how do we know you're doing the will of the Most High? And what did he say? He said, if I'm not doing the deeds of my Father, do not believe me. But if I am doing them and you still not believe in me, but what? Believe in the work I do. That's it. You don't want to believe me? Fine. If my actions don't follow, and that goes back to what we're saying, tuning in. If my actions are not following the Most High, it's going to come out. It's going to come out in what? In our actions. That's how, when you tune in and then you tune in with other Christ, they'll know, your elders, chief, those who are tuned in, the same frequency, they'll know, like, he's getting there.
Mm-hmm.
He's tuning in. He ain't there yet, but he's got the right frequency. He's got the right channel. If he keeps tuning, again, he'll get there. Mm-hmm. She'll get there. If they keep cultivating that culture, if they keep, as those who laugh at us, we talk about Esther coming up, had nothing to do with Yahushua, have nothing, because that's a whole nother thing. But anyhow, why did they mock him? Why did they crucify him? Why did they curse him? Because you're telling us, for those outside, I knew it. Your covering, gotta wear a covering. You gotta fast. You can't eat pork no more. You can't fornicate. I love sex. You can't fornicate no more. You can't just do what the hell you want to do, like Chief mentioned in the chat. When you follow Yahushua, I'm the most freest man alive. That's what my name, Chief named me, Herut. The more you vibrate, the more you tuned into him, the freer you will get. The freer you will get. So now, as I'm freeing myself, I have to separate. If the Most High says separate from your best friend, or your mama, your daddy, or your spouse, are you going to listen? No. I'm like, no, it's cheaper to keep her. I ain't letting her go. Yahushua, you don't understand. I've been with this crazy I've been with this crazy woman, baby. I'm sorry. I was just joking. I ain't call you a hoe. I ain't call you. I was just joking. I've been with her for 3 years. And she gave me 3 children. One's got one eye hanging out, and the other one is always running around chasing, but I'm okay. It's cheaper to keep her. Do you know what child support will do if I deal with her or him? It's okay. It's cheaper to Yahushua, I understand, but you don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand. I gotta take these pharmaceuticals. If I don't, my heart's gonna stop. So if the Most High says, let it go, separate, trust me, that's where the problem, that's what makes us different from the rest of the world. So as they go through in a week or so, praising the Most High or their El, but then they're going to crucify him. The same thing what people do. And people don't realize that every time you deny and you be disobedient, you are saying the hell with the Most High. Every time you succumb to your addictions, you don't want to listen, you don't want to tune in, no problem. Go with the rest of them. Stay with them. I'm far from you. So the curses and the dysfunction, it will continue. I'll take everything from you. You don't want to listen? Fine. I'm going to take that cure, that person, that place. You don't want to follow the Most High? Fine. And so tuning in, and as Chief mentioned in the chat, when you have a love affair, and you know, and then he shares with you knowledge of self. That's why I love the movie Matrix. I love that movie. Because Malcolm, excuse me. Neo.
Well, the
I'm like,
Matrix
wrong movie. Neo. Neo was coming to the Oracle to what? He thought he was going to get the answer. She was like, no, I ain't got the answer. The answer's in you. You got to tap into the Most High. But look at the top of that door. Know thyself. The more you strive to know yourself, the more, if you strive for it, the Most High will share you who you are. What is your purpose? Are you worthy? If you don't follow and don't desire the Most High, if you don't tune in, you'll tune out and you'll suffer the consequences. You will lose. People don't know it, but you will lose. So I just wanted to share that with that, because when Chief mentioned that, and that's a question for all of us. How do you know that you're tuning in with the right L, and how do you know you're tuning in with the Creator? How do you know? How do you know it's the right one? And so I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you said a lot. You definitely said a lot. When it comes to that tuning in, when it comes to knowing what you're supposed to do and not doing it, and even with the metronome, with the clock, it helps you to keep the beat. Like Chief had said earlier, you know when you're tuning in, but the first thing you got to do is know what kind of frequency or what kind of sound you're giving off. And it reminded me of tuning a guitar. You hit the string, you listen, and then you tune a little bit, you hit the string, you listen, and you know what you're listening for. It's a certain pitch that lets you know, okay, this is it. This one's in tune. And actually I've seen, I think my old guitar teacher could do it, but I've seen people, once they tune one string, they can use that one in tune string to tune the rest of the strings. Right? You can tune the whole guitar as long as one of the strings is in tune. You could also use the tuning fork, like you mentioned earlier. You can also use even a note from a keyboard, and I'll let you know, okay, this is E. I can tune this one E, and then you can use that to tune the rest of the guitar. So yeah, that definitely brought to mind in terms of practical examples. And with reference to the can't piece as well, what I can't do. Jesus said we have way more freedom than the consciously dead. We choose not to do what is counterintuitive so that we can embrace the abundance of our shared experience. So yeah, Sister Yafi says, this is why language is so important. When it comes to obeying the law, it's not can't, but rather don't and won't compromise. And it's like if I say I want to switch to electric because it's easier for me. It'll be easier for me to get electricity than it would for me to get gas. But the problem with that is I need to find better batteries now. If I can find a way to have a better battery, then the electric would be much more sustainable than the gas. And I have to make sure too that the battery isn't causing more damage than the gas is causing. Someone might hear that and is like, You mean to tell me you can't use gas, but you'll use this electric, and it's causing as much problems? It's like, nah, this may be the more sustainable option. I'm gonna move with this. It's like, no, you telling me I can't use gas now? I can't use gas? It's like, that's all you'll hear. As opposed to there might be a better alternative. They'll hear, I can't do what I'm doing. You trying to tell me you can't eat meat? It's like, nah, I chose not to eat meat because it worked. What I'm eating now works better for my system. What I'm saying is, you can't eat chicken? That's what you telling me? So if I join the community, I can't eat chicken? It's like, you talking about can't. You already telling me you don't want, it's certain things that you don't see a problem with it. Or I remember when I started shifting my diet, and what people would always ask me is, what does that do for you? So if I got some kale from the store and I'm adding it to my meal, what does that do? It's like, what's that? Oh, that's kale. What does kale do? It's like, huh, that's interesting. So what's that? Oh, this is papaya. What does papaya do? You don't ask what chicken does.
Right.
You don't ask the benefits of eating pork. You eat it because it tastes good. And the thing that makes it taste good is the plants you're putting on it to season it. But you're asking me what it does, because you figure it's like that horse mentality. If I do something, there has to be an immediate payoff for it. Never once saying culturally responsible. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Akizak. Trying to tap into an L that has nothing to do with you, but have one battling everything around them. I'm wondering how the heck you got there. Yeah. Chief says all things contain a spirit collectively. Unclean foods hold unclean spirits. This is where possession can take root. Right. It was deliverance. I think it was, Chief, your segment. You had spoken about that possession not happening through the mind, but through the body. Metronome, right? The clock is absolutely a metronome. Right, like Yahushua can't have someone coming in and cleaning this insanity up. Yeah, talking about that trust.
Yeah.
So you said a mouthful there.
And it's funny, that was one of my lessons I had to learn earlier last year was, okay, you talk about Yahushua, going back to the Chief's question. You say, oh, you okay, do you trust the Most High? Oh, yeah. Now you're going to put, the Most High going to test you to see if you trust. And then you like, oh, shoot. And then you got to not wing it. You got to trust. I'm going to do this. Now trust me. But you got to do something. That was one of the challenges I had to go through earlier last year when I was terminated. Because I already knew what I was not supposed to do. Like we were saying, that pork chop stuff, once you're convicted of what you're not supposed to do, then you're going to be tested to make sure you are really. You say you and I are you and the Most High are beating at one beat. Okay. That's what I found out with most people in the world. They don't trust. They'll talk all day about Yahushua or the Christ or whatever. They'll talk about the Most High, what their they'll talk all day. But then when it comes down to doing something, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story.
It's like Agizak's, one of Agizak's favorite scenes, I know Kung Fu. Show me. Show me a Kung Fu. And that's how a lot of people are too. Like I'm great in relationships. You mean the one that you're not in right now? Because of what? Oh, because they did something. It's like, oh, okay, but you're so great in relationships that you know how to pick them, and it's just you just know how to pick all of these relationships with these people who don't know how to be as great in a relationship as you do, and they just mess it up. That's what happened. I'm a great cook. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to test that one out. You might poison me. You know what I mean? A lot of people like to talk, but that's because they don't analyze what kind of note they're putting out. It's just as long as I am not disproven, then I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
As long as someone doesn't put me to the side and say, yo, that's off, I'm right. There's no self introspection,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a part of being in tune too, or tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
What the standard is. How am I meeting the standard? Or even how am I evolving the standard? If I'm so great that I'm meeting the standard all the time, how am I going to evolve the standard? You may wind up trying to devolve it just to fit your highest point. Or even with children may come through and they actually do better than you do in terms of meeting the standard, which they should if you're going to be progressing forward. But what happens is some people see how great the children are moving and they're getting along with others, and they're able to actually show a level of integrity, and they're stifled. I've seen that as well. Um, Chief says, yes, you absolutely do that in tuning. Eventually, you can hear and feel if your guitar is out of tune. It goes beyond sound. Yeah, yeah, that's true too. Like, you can tell when it's way out of tune, but there have been instances where you can tune a guitar and you play it for a little while, and it's a while before you can realize that this doesn't sound right. This doesn't sound like the tone I was playing a few strongs ago. Because you can tune it and put it down, and it'll go out of tune. You pick it back up and it doesn't sound right, and then you go to tune it. But if you don't really pay attention to the notes, but you're like, I'm playing the right string, I'm forming my chords right. My chords are dope. My chords are tight. I'm hitting the right strings. I'm following the right tempo, but my guitar's out of tune. So what am I really playing now? Am I playing the song, or am I just going through rote learning? Because sometimes there are certain things that you should do, but you go with the should instead of looking at the moment and seeing what's appropriate in the moment, or even analyzing yourself, and seeing that you may be out of tune. You may be feeling off that day. You may be tired. You may be a little bit extra irritable. Maybe I shouldn't go around those children before I curse them out. Maybe I should stay inside. Let me stay inside for a little bit and tune in, so that I can talk with a level of responsibility, because I might be a little burnt out, and someone may say something that they won't make me react in a certain way, or they won't make me curse, or they won't make me get angry or make me angry. I'm already angry, and I'm gonna try and pretend like I can act the way that I always act when I'm actually in tune. So now I'm gonna like present a caricature of myself when I'm in my right mind. I'm gonna try like be a method actor and act out the way that I normally act when I'm in my right mind. How do I go and say it? Hi. You come up with this false niceness, and it just comes off as fake, and that you're off. You know that you're tired. You know that you're irritable. You know that you're feeling down. You might be depressed, but you're not stepping back. It's like with Aki El Kara speaking about last night, being a general who knows when it's time to retreat and regroup. You might be in a situation where you shouldn't push forward because you're burnt out, and you may need to retreat and regroup and tune yourself back in, so that when you do go back forward, when you do go forward again, you can actually you can present something that's both in tune and authentic, as opposed to trying to pretend that you are in tune, like Chief was saying earlier, and trying to convince yourself as such. You're actually in tune, similar to Yahweh Shai when he was being tempted in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And this is after a 40-day and 40-night fast. Like you have some people complain about Ramadan. At least we can eat during the day. 40 days and 40 nights, and now someone comes to mess with you. You know, but you know you can turn those stones into bread, right? You do know that, right? I mean, I don't want to tell you how to do your job or anything, but I'm just letting you know that that option's still on the table. You know, you can turn that piece of bread into stone. You know, no one's watching. We in the wilderness. That's why they call it the wilderness. You know what I mean? So it's a matter, and he responded every time in tune. He didn't respond like nah, I can't do that. You know,
Right.
we don't use our power.
Right.
But, you know, I can't do that. I would don't you can if I had some butter, man. I had some butter to spread on. Anyway, yeah, we don't do that. We can't do that. You know, it's like nah, it is written. You know, this is the note that I'm on. It is written, and this is taking me to a particular destination that you may not be going towards, but I am. You know, you had your choice, you made your decision. Whatever that decision was, that's cool. With not that's cool, but you'll have to reckon with the repercussions of that action or that decision. As for me, I'm deciding to do this thing. I'm following this law, and it is written, man shall not live by bread alone. It is written, thou shalt not tempt Adonai. You know, it's written. So I already know what the tone is, and I know what I'm tuning myself to. And every time my strings are plucked, we'll know how close my note is to the actual pitch that I'm seeking to attune myself to. You know what I mean? As opposed to just saying, I don't know, I can't do it. You know, I don't know. It's like that's inviting room for further negotiation. Nah, this is what it is. You know, in no uncertain terms. I just told you what's written, and I told you what I'm doing. They say, all right, well, check this out. He gave up. They say, all right, well, you could do this. You know, if you're the son of God, you can do this. If you're the son of God, you could do that. It's like, nah.
But that goes back to what you're saying. In other cultures, you know, it's funny. I hear people say, "To human is to err, to err." I'm human.
Right.
I'm here. You know, I'm supposed to err. But if you're a divine being and you resonate and you tune in with the Most High and you are in the same beat, you synchronize. One, that statement of it's human error is incorrect, because then go back to what Chief is saying about the accountable of purpose. Once you know who you see, Yahushua knew his purpose. That's why when he was tempted, it wasn't one, he could have given in, but he knew his purpose. He knew it wasn't, you know, what's interesting? You just mentioned about the 40 days of fasting. Most people can't do it. Most people can't even fast one day. We do it 3 days of no eating, no food. Some people can't do it because they're out of tune. They're out of sync. This is what I tell some of the seniors. So now, if you're out of sync and the people around you out of sync, well, what do you think is going to happen to the people around you? They're going to be out of sync. So then it's like going back to what Chief was saying about Chris. It's a collective body.
Right.
So now your culture, all of you are in sync. Going back to originally what we said earlier. Because what we're talking about, it's not impossible. Now, for some people, it is. It's funny because I think it was yesterday. I was like, I thought we were fasting for the last month. I was like, I looked at the calendar. I'm like, oh shoot, we just started. I mean, I wasn't tempted. I literally thought I was on a fast for over almost a month. And I'm like, I knew it was gonna be. I don't know what day it's gonna end. But it would throw me off. I was like, we just started last like a week ago. Because I remember the 3 days. We did the 3 days of no food.
Right.
And then we went straight into Ramadan.
Right.
And I don't know why I felt like that was some couple weeks back. It's like some Strong's back. And I'm like, no, that just started. It's like Kung Fu Panda. he was climbing those stairs. It was like, oh,
Right.
ah, ah. And then before he looked, he was only on 3 steps.
Right.
I'm like, you thought he climbed the whole mountain? No, you just went 3 steps.
Yeah, they had to carry him up the rest.
Right, right. I'm saying that because it wasn't no, my struggle was, it was an interesting last week strong, because a lot of things going on, events, deaths, and everything. And I went through a moment, and I had the Howard Chair, I'm like, snap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You got work to do. This ain't no time. So I had to go. I had to work on that beast mode in me. I'm like, ain't no excuses. We don't do excuses. We ain't got time for all that. You got a job to do. You got to stay in sync. You got to stay in tuned. Because we can easily fall right out of it. We can easily go step out. But if you're in sync with the Most High, He's gonna snap you out of it. If you're in sync. But some we don't hear Him. We don't snap out of it. And it comes to as we were talking the other day, and I thought it's funny you said something, and what came to mind? Watching a hummingbird. And I looked up the hummingbird, and you know what amazed me about a hummingbird? Yes, those wings are it's flapping so fast you can't even see the wings.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know about the hummingbird, when I watched it, I didn't know. I knew it hovers, but I didn't know it can go backwards and forwards. I was amazed. I was like, I didn't know that. It hovers. It's, again, we're talking about vibration.
Mm-hmm.
That's one bird that you see it flapping and you can't even see. The wings are flapping so fast you can't even see it like you see other birds. But it has. Can you imagine? It can't do it if one wing is off. Or it can't. Can you imagine? Can you imagine us as a hummingbird and you go out of sync and all of a sudden, oh shoot. Gotta stand still, gotta stay focused, because look what the Most High did for us. He gave us creation with a hummingbird that has to. Can you imagine if it's not thinking, or you can't think? Can you imagine that? You gotta flap so fast, because if you don't flap fast enough, you're not gonna be able to stay afloat. You're not gonna be able to hover. You're not gonna be able to go backwards and forwards. And you know what? Have you ever asked a hummingbird, are you tired?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Are you tired from doing all that flapping? But we as creatures, we are beings greater than a hummingbird. Greater than a hummingbird. And we can't even synchronize properly. But a hummingbird can.
Yeah, and the thing with that is they don't need to think.
They don't what now?
They don't need to think.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't really need to put any conscious thought into what it is they're doing, because it's like you're saying, they're so in tune and they're so synced with what their nature is. It's like I can do this. This is what I do. It's what I do. You know what I mean? It's like there's this movie Paid in Full, and the guy's like he's like, who are you? He's like, I'm Lulu. He's like, what kind of name is Lulu? He's like, I don't know, it's my name. It's just what I do. And sometimes we squander those things, or we take them for granted, the things that we're able to do. And we squander them in a way that we think we deserve something better, or we think we should have something else. It goes back to what Akizaki's talking about, thinking that you should have someone else's gifts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be able to do this. I want to be like him over there, or I want to be like Big U. I want to be like Chief. I don't want to be Zach, or I don't want to be Yafe. I don't want to be Menyelek. I want to be Chief. but everyone has their note. And that's
Mm-hmm.
another thing with being tuned in. You have your note, but there's other notes that depend on you being in tune. There's a whole, like the guitar has 6 strings, don't have 1 string. You know what I
Right.
mean? And with the hummingbird example, the hummingbird is not like, I wish my wings was quiet as an owl's. Like I need, give me the nectar. I just need the nectar. That's it. So fly over there, okay, cool, fly over there. I don't wish I had a life of banging my head against a tree like a woodpecker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving in sync with what I was designed to do. And I don't have to think about what it would be like to be a deer because I know what I need and I know I have the tools that I need to get it. But if I'm so out of tune that I think I need to pick up other tools, to get what other people are getting, then I will neglect and I'll basically spit on the tools I was born with. Instead of cultivating those and getting what it is that sustain me, I'll go running off, looking for someone else to emulate or looking for someone else to copy. But that, again, that's looking to the external for what it is that you already have.
Mm-hmm.
And Chief had told me this. I remember I was speaking to him about something, and I just expressed some difficulties I was having, and he said, maybe you're chasing after something that you already have,
Mm-hmm.
and it hits you in the gut.
Yeah.
when he tells you stuff like that, it's like, he is absolutely goddamn right.
Yeah.
And you really gotta work with what he gives you because it's like that's true, and you have the choice of making that pivot, right? And that's the beauty of having a chief jagna or having jagnas in your community, because they'll say this is the note that you're giving off, and you can really take a step back because you may be that one old lady in the choir that is not aware that she's just throwing the whole choir off, and she's just loud and proud with it. Everybody's harmonizing, and she will just keep bellowing like a goat. And she won't stop and say, you know what? I sound like a goat. Let me at least try to harmonize what everyone else is doing. No, I want to be heard. Like Akizaki talking about that one toothy guy that wants to be lead singer. I need to be heard. I need to be seen. So not only will I not um, be in tune with my own note, I'm going to be in tune with, out of sync with what else is going on around me. I won't be like Akizaki was saying earlier. I will be out of harmony with everyone else. I don't want to be in harmony with everyone else. I don't even want to harmonize with myself. So I'll go with what my desires tell me. I won't really scrutinize what it is that I'm putting out. I won't scrutinize what it is that I'm giving off. I just want to feel good. I just want to keep going. See me getting that tooth on the contract. um, yeah, I just want to keep going, keep doing what I'm doing. I don't want to stop. I don't want to change. I don't want to divert. I don't want to slow down. I don't want to retreat and regroup. I don't want to listen to wise counsel. I don't want none of that. All I
Mm-hmm.
want is to keep doing what I'm doing. And if you stop me, I'm going to treat you like an enemy. I'm going to kick and scream and fight like hell until you leave me alone so I can do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And it's interesting because as you were sharing, it's amazing among of us in Anu. Each and every one, we're talking about vibrancy, we're talking about purpose, and it's what I love watching, like each and every one of us. When you look at the Most High and you see the aspects of the Most High in each and every one of us in our unique gifts.
Mm-hmm.
You have a unique gift. That's where your master Menyelek. Then you have El Karar, who is our I love him as being our John G. Jackson, or our because he's our master teacher. I mean, when he breaks down that history,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have Akizek is like, it's like that military part where he's like he's that energy that just pours out there. And then you have Yakira Eden. I love those signature glasses. You know, I wonder, does she have signature glasses? It's just like she when she has those signature glasses when she does her segment. She's like, I look for her signature glasses. And then there's Akoti Maria. There's Emma Aquia. There's Softer Gertrude. There's Softer Ahava with that smile of hers. I can go on and on and on about each and every one of us. Is a unique group. But it's funny because when we have Chief, and I always use the analogy with Chief as the conductor of a symphony. And each and every one of us has an instrument, a musical instrument that we had to master that is suited for each and every one of us. So as Chief being the conductor, they're like, Isaiah, you're off beat. Come on. Bring it up a little longer, a little bit more. I'm tuning this. So Aki Isaiah, he brings it up. Or Abba Yada Ram or Ross Kush, they got their own vibrancy. Yada Ram is that philosopher. I think of the Socrates. I think of that Plato. I think of his way of he can break it down. I love that. So it's interesting that all of us, if we keep working at our purpose and we keep following the Most High, because what Chief is trying to get us to like tune in to the Most High first. You have the culture. We can break down the scriptures where you learn obedience and then you put those obedience in action. Because if you just follow the script, if you just do it and trust in the Most High, you'll be in tune. Then the Most High will resonate with you. And when he resonates with you, he will do the miracle things that most of us, that's already being done. And I love it because most of us, we're still being tuned. We're still tuning in. We're still, Chief, like that tuning fork. We still struggle. I don't want to do it. But Chief hits that tuning fork. Ding! So that way you stay in tune. You stay resonant. Because why? We don't have time to get comfortable. There is no comfortability in Anu. We already know that. You ain't gonna survive here. Because why? We're not only a community, but when we resonate and we tune in as a collective body, as a community, guess what? Now the accountability, there's no excuse. Because if we're beating at one pulse, a one beat, some of us are struggling more than others, but the key is if you keep staying on beat, if you keep staying synchronized, and those outside I knew watching us, you think it's easy? No, it's work. It like learning an instrument, like Chief. We look at Chief when he plays his instruments, or we look at anyone plays an instrument. It's not easy. It seems easy, yeah, because it's work that goes into it.
Right.
It's not something you just, it may come natural, yeah. But it's called work. We got to work at it.
The work makes it easy.
Say it again?
I said the work makes it easy. Although it sounds like a paradox, like how does work make it easy? Work makes it easy. The more you work at it, the easier it gets. Because when you're dealing with let's say the fasting, you use the example of the fasting, and what I miss?
It's in chat. I'm sorry. I just saw it.
Man. Master Menyelek is the Riddler.
I'm sorry.
Doc is Superman. Herut is the Flash. Yakira Eden is Batgirl. Maria is Storm. Yafa is Amanda Waller. Oh man, Yafa is a problem. El Corral is Beast. Ahava is Wonder Woman. I'm Stanley. Good examples.
Yeah.
Yeah, real good examples.
I'm sorry, I can't stop.
Why you gotta be written off? I do like green, but yeah, man, there's so much that so many people would say, like how you were saying, everybody can't do a 40-day fast, right? But nobody starts at 40 days.
Right.
You could do a fast for during the daylight hours, the first day. You could do a fast for 3 hours. You could do intermittent fasting. Say, okay, I won't eat breakfast. I'll only eat lunch and dinner. And then you can extend it. All right, I'll only eat lunch. This strong. I'll only eat lunch. I won't eat breakfast. I won't eat dinner. Then you can always use your baby steps, and it goes back to even the tuning example with the guitar. You tune it a little bit, you pluck the string, and say, okay, that's not it. Tune it a little bit, pluck the string, okay, that's not it. I'm not at the level where I can just be like, I know I can sense my guitar is out of tune, and I don't have to pluck the string even once. You gotta at least hit it at least once to know it's out of tune. Let me get some of the stuff when we go back.
Okay. She got me laughing with
I'm
Coach
trying
Maria.
not to.
She's stormed. You know what she is? What? That's why the damn rating and the test comes up and I'm like, that Chief just made me laugh with Maria being stormed.
Yeah, Yaffe being Amanda Waller doesn't
right.
far off either. You call them shots. Marjorie Marie says, hummingbird is the only bird that can fly front, back, side to side. They dart front, back, side to side. That's UGK. Where you at, Aki Akara? I've never paid attention to that. Hummingbirds move front, back, side to side.
Yeah, backwards right. Too. Yeah.
Yeah, right, Master Man. I gotta find your note. Imposter syndrome, right? You're trying to be like somebody else, and then you have like they told Simba when he asked Rafiki, who he was, and he was like, nah, the question is, who are you?
Yeah.
Lakuya says, makes me think about on the way when the woman is in step with her nature, her desire becomes the fulfillment of her natural position, right? Like the Most High told Eve, your desire will be to him. Talking about Adam. We're getting a tooth on the contract. El Karal says, actually, Akizak, if you ask me, that's easy E originally if we go in there. All right, talking about the front, back, side to side. Talking about El Karal being the historian.
Mm-hmm.
But Chief having to know all the instruments too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Akizak said, I'll take the Riddler off your hands, Master Menyelek. Google's Amanda Waller. Yeah, just think, what's her face? Who played her in Suicide Squad? Viola Davis.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of my favorite movies. Yeah,
I knew radio. Like, share, and subscribe. Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, share, subscribe. Oh, and before I forget, I know we were getting ready to close out, but I wanted to remind everyone before we close out, because I know sometimes we just leave and pay no attention to housekeeping with me on our way out. So while the thought is fresh in my mind,
yeah,
retreat, our new retreat, 2023. Yeah, so the sign-up sheets are still on our New Life Global Ministries. You can also scan the QR code that is supposed to be shown on the screen, but it's not. Okay, yeah. That's showing.
There
Why
you
is
go.
this not showing? There we go. There you go. So scan the QR code. It will take you through the registration form. It's very important that you register because it gives us a head count. The head count lets us know which venues that we need, and the venue gives you more information on the date.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important that you fill out the sign-up sheet. And of course, that will let us know, okay, this amount of people are coming. This would be the better venue. because you don't want to book a large venue for a small amount of people. You don't want to book a small venue, and there's a lot of people who are actually interested in coming, but they sign up at the last minute. So it's very important that you sign up as soon as you decide you want to go and go through that process. And it gives us a lot more lead time to make proper preparations and, we can just enjoy ourselves at the retreat. All right. So that is very important. Um, I think that was it for the housekeeping, other than, of course, we have um, our build, our Shabbat builds tomorrow. And then first day, Yom Rishon, Sunday, we have our midday ferments.
Midman further. Yep.
Yeah, man. But that was like commercial break, you don't necessarily gotta close out. But that was definitely something I wanted to bring up before I forgot, because I'm good at that. Riddle me this. What was I supposed to say?
I would remind you because I know about the retreat, so don't worry about it. We wouldn't have closed out without that. I got you, my brother. I got
See,
you.
that's why Chief would put two of us here.
Uh-huh.
I forget. But yeah, man. Yeah, but tuning in is super important, and tuning in helps you to level up. It helps you to move to the next level because you are already what you need to be, but it's a matter of tuning up so that you're operating effectively. So if you get an instrument, let's say you gotta learn how to play the instrument. You don't just get automatic knowledge of how to play a guitar just because you buy one. So tuning into that instrument, making sure it's tuned, and that what it is that you're doing with the instrument resonates with what it is you're supposed to be doing. So you get a ukulele and you're trying to play rock and roll, you might create a new style of music, but it won't sound like what it is you're trying to produce. If you want it to sound like what it is that you're hearing on the radio, or if you want to play your own music in that style, you may want to tune your instrument to play that way. Even if you're playing an acoustic guitar, like a song that I was trying to learn, I never tried it before, but you can do something called tuning your guitar to in the tune of D, which means when you have all five strings, it goes E from the bottom to top. I can never go from top to bottom. Bottom to top, E, B, G, D, A, E, right? And sometimes that final E, you can tune it to D. So now you have two Ds, but it gives you a different sound. If you want to play that song, so you have to know which song it is that you're playing as well. And some people would be like, nah, you sound off. You sound like I'm playing in the tune of D. I was designed to play in the tune of D. This is the song I was told to play. If you play in E, then that's cool. You play in E. But don't tell me I have to sound like E just because you were tuned to sound like E, and most songs you hear sound like E. But yeah, man, being able to it also reminds me, I wanted to bring this point up. I learned this and a few strongs ago in class. Kurt Lewin, he had this management theory of it's called Lewin's change theory, and he had used the example of freezing and unfreezing, right? And he says that some people get so used to they get so stuck in their messed up ways. If they start doing something that's off and they get used to doing it that way, you as a manager may come in and say, this person is operating in a way that's counterintuitive, right? Like Chief was talking about earlier, or they're operating in a way that's contrary to what we're trying to do as an industry or as a business or as a department. I'm going to need this person to change the way that they're doing and adjust it and tune up, right? But I can't tune them up until, like Chief was saying, you have to know what note they're playing. You have to make them aware of the note that they're playing and how it's so off from what it is we're doing. So you gotta, it's called unfreezing because they got stuck in their ways. They got frozen doing the wrong thing. So you gotta unfreeze them tell them what it is they're doing wrong, and make them amenable to change. And once they've changed and adopted more corrective behavior or more in tune behavior, now you have to reward the more in tune behavior and encourage it. And that's called refreezing,
Mm.
right? And the refreezing helps you to, it's like a milestone almost. You may not be there, but at least you're way better off than where you were before, right? So you notice that you're told that you're out of tune, right? And if you're wise enough and humble enough to acknowledge that you're out of tune, you'll adjust it. And once you've adjusted it, it's like, okay, I corrected the behavior. Now I'm gonna freeze it again to prevent me from going back to
Mm.
the old bad behavior, right?
Mm.
So talk about tuning in and being tuned up, or tuning in and tuning up, right? And it's not a one-time process. That's the main thing, because you may go from being an F student to a C student, and you may have to unfreeze, change, and freeze again, and on a constant movement. That's how you do, until you realize, okay, there's actually no need to freeze because there's a continuous stream that I'm following, and as long as I stay with that stream, I don't have to worry about holding myself in place just to make sure that I don't go back to the way that I'm not supposed to be moving. Like Chief was saying, sometimes you can just play it and you can tell that it's out of tune, right? And it's more than it becomes more than just using a tuner, and it becomes more than just hearing it. You can feel it. When something feels off. And I've experienced it a couple of times, like during the fast. Like, no, this don't feel right. Or I can feel when something's about to change. And so I might be doing something concentrated. I just pick my head up. It's like I sense a disturbance in the force, something like that. But yeah, man, I just wanted to bring that point up as well. I thought that was a good metaphor, or a good example of what we're talking about tonight, that Lewis change theory.
Mm-hmm. I was, as you were talking, I was thinking about when Chief was doing the segment on accountable for purpose, and he paused for a moment and he started playing an instrument,
Mm-hmm.
and he was saying that if I'm trying to go back to, he was stopping, it was something about stopping chatter or something, so he immediately stopped and he just went into playing, just being in tune. Mm-hmm. And then it was balanced so well, and that's another thing, because what I was thinking about when he was doing that, he was creating a music in the moment, because he mentioned that, so he had to have a listening ear, because that's tuning. Chief knows how to, he's played so many instruments that he has an ear where he can hear if the sound is off or so, just like when he deals with us. He knows, like, no, say it again, no, higher. He knows, he has that listening ear. And of course, Chief makes it easy, but that takes practice, that takes mastery, because again, everything today, now I guess there's an app. I know, Chief, what we were doing, I remember some time ago, Chief was, Chief, when he chimes in on our Sabbath and our either men's call or when we were combined as a group, and I know what Chief was breaking. One time he was talking about, the old studios. They had the synthesizer. I'm saying it, darn it wrong.
We need a bouncing ball for you, Abba.
Man.
Synthesizer.
Synthesizer. Yeah. Okay. Synthesizer. There you go.
There we go.
Synthesizer. So because it looks so massive, because you have certain knobs and everything, whereas today they don't do it anymore. It's just an app. I remember him saying, so it's like the old music which is true. When you listen to the music from the 70s and the 60s and everything to where we're at today, it's not the same. Because why? Today is more artificial. Whereas back then, you had to create that sound. You had to create that. And again, everybody doesn't have the capacity to make music in a beat synchronized. Like, they don't do it anymore. Everything is computerized now. Whereas back then, they didn't have all that. You had to make your own sound. You had to make your own beats. You had to make your own sounds, or you had to coordinate it. You had to, and again, that you had to work. I don't know. I just think of Chief. So when Chief, because he had some experience being in the music industry, and he was able to, like I said, being with those greats. As I love how Chief breaks it up. He's like, those old heads, you learn so much that they don't do anymore, and that helps you stay in tune as well, because a musical instrument is a device that you can utilize. It helps you to bring the balance. It helps you to synchronize. It helps you to coordinate. It keeps the vibration. It's a vibration. It's a pulse. It's all of that, going back to tuning in and then tuning up. And so, again, for him, he plays the guitar. That's like you just mentioned about the guitar. Remember when we were at the retreat and we had the drumming circle around the campfire? That one, oh my gosh, I haven't listened to a while, but that, and again, we all had to, we were all amateurs. But when she was like, well, and then we were once it's that was a moment. That was a moment around that campfire.
But I'd imagine too, though, just going to the amateur piece, it brings out what's inside of you. What's inside of you may not be amateurish,
right?
You won't know if you're always trying to tune into something outside of you. Especially if you're not sure how you should be tuning.
Right.
That's a good point in terms of what you brought up about the jam sessions around the fire. It brings up something that I'd imagine, I wasn't a part of the last one, but I'd imagine it strips away your ego too. It would strip away your ego, because it's not like you're looking for an applause in that moment. You're just giving free rein to express whatever is going on, but you're expressing it in in that symphony, in that harmony. You got all these different instruments going, and it's an attempt to get on one accord.
We had the violins. We had the that was something, and it was recorded. So to have all of those instruments all at once, the drums, and I could still see it. It's like, wow. And the fire, it was because we were around that campfire. That's the best one we've had. I mean, wow, that was one of the best moments. I could still see it. I could still, and Yafe with her yellow, her I'm gonna leave it alone. She was in a moment, and but the point is, we were all resonating. Again, vibration. It was so. It's so. I don't know. I can hear it. I can still hear it to this moment. It's been a while, but I can hear it now as we're talking about this. That's how, going back to vibrancy, where you can still hear it, and that was the. Was that the summer one or was that the spring one? I think, well, it don't matter. The point is, we had the moment. Hey, no, it wasn't the last one. It definitely wasn't the last one. It was before that. But
it probably was the spring one, the summer one then.
Huh?
It was probably the summer retreat then.
No, because the last one we had was summer.
The last one it had been spring. Was winter.
Huh?
Last one we did was winter.
Okay, we've been in so many retreats, I forgot.
Yeah.
I just know
we've been on so late.
It was two retreats ago. It was two retreats. I tell you what, it was 2 retreats ago. That's what I remember.
Yeah, we're going on 3 hours. So it's understandable.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, those moments are even good to watch secondhand. But I can only imagine being there because I do remember the video that's on Anu Life Global, and it's like it's the clip of you all playing around on the fire, and Chief is doing an affirmation on top of that, like a voiceover, and that was long. The affirmation was it was like 14, I think, minutes, 14 or 18 minutes.
Wow.
It looked like when y'all was around the fire, y'all wasn't there for like no 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Y'all was going. But I can imagine it sounds way better in the end than it did in the beginning. But again, that quote that speaks to the tuning up, because now you can hear everybody around you, and you're like, okay, I can tune into the voices in the community, and that lets me know, okay, if I adjust this a little bit more, it can support this note that's right next to me. That's playing. I'm not stepping out of my note to say I want to be them, but I am amplifying myself in a way that, okay, I'm playing more in tune, and that helps this person beside me to tune in more, and then willfully it'll be like a chain reaction, and it just spirals around. We just keep going up and up.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this was I like this topic.
Yeah.
The idea of being tuned in with the Most High, being tuned in with each other, being tuned in with purpose, and allowing that knowledge. Actually, today's mathematics is understanding knowledge, all being born in culture. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna throw that in there.
Yeah.
Sprinkle that in there. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed the bill. Is there anything else you want to add before we close out?
No, I give thanks for everyone. I give thanks to our Chief Yuya, being our conductor. I give thanks to the Most High for being the chief conductor, and I give thanks to all of us who are participants in this arena. In the arena, we are on the field. As Aki said, we're on the field. We ain't in no bleachers. We're on the field playing the sport. So as always, I give thanks.
Yeah, man. Give thanks to everyone. My sentiments exactly. Give thanks to Chief. Give thanks to the Most High. Give thanks to everyone who ride with us. Even though sometimes we lose track of time. I might look up and it says 59 minutes, and then I look back up and it says 2 hours 59 minutes. I say, But sure, man, definitely give thanks to everybody coming through, and yeah, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Give thanks.
Yeah, peace.
Peace.